chat. Hi guys, this is Faizan and welcome to this session by Great Learning. So before we start, can you quickly guys confirm in the chat section if I'm audible or not, so that we can rectify it right here right now. And in the meantime, Great Learning has come up with an initiative, Great Learning Academy, wherein we have 100 plus courses available for free, at least for now. They are for free for limited amount of time. You guys can check those courses, and also after the completion of your course you will get a certification which you can add up into your resumes and in your LinkedIn profiles. Okay, so quickly, as I can see some yeses in the chat section. Cool, great. Now let's get started. So today's session is all about, great, waiting for this for a long time. Okay, Mano says okay, great. So let's get started. Today's session is on getting started with CSS. So what we are going to do, how I'm going to go through the session is that, so before we will start with CSS for now, and then what we will do, we will go into Bootstrap in the next session. Okay, we'll see how to change the things and how it's easy and how it's efficiently we can change things with the help of just adding some CDNs. Okay, we're not getting into Bootstrap for now. Let's get started with CSS. So now let's see the table of content, what we are going to cover in this session. So first we are going to talk about what is CSS, then some history of CSS, which CSS editor should you use. Okay, then the basic structure of CSS, then comments, how to write comments, different ways to write CSS, CSS selectors, color property, background property, border, and then finally we are going to, sir, your voice is not audible, Karthike says. Can you guys quickly confirm, is this the case for rest of you guys? And then finally what we are going to cover is box model. Okay, quickly guys. Quickly guys, just give me a yes or no in the chat section if it is the case for all of you, or it's just Karthike who is not able to audible. Jay says audible. Great. So Karthike, please check your mic. It might be something that is from your end. Something is wrong. No sir, you are audible. Great. So now finally we are going to talk about box model. Okay, cool. So now let's start. So what is a CSS? What is CSS? What does this CSS acronym stands for? So it stands for cascading style sheets. If HTML is the structure of a, let's call the structure the structure of the house or skeleton of the house, right? Then CSS is the look and feel of that house, how it looks. Okay, so basically if something is there without any colors, it doesn't look good, right? So what we will do, we'll add some CSS to it. Okay. Okay, so it's the language to make a web page presentable. Okay, so it stands for cascading style sheets. It's the look and feel of your web page, and it is used to make your web page more presentable, designed to make style sheets for web. Okay, now let's try to break this acronym. What does this mean? Okay, so cascading means falling of styles. So we will cover this cascading part at the end, maybe after covering some parts, then it will make much more sense. So cascading means falling of styles. Okay, style means styling our HTML page. Okay, adding designs and all those things, right? Background, box, everything, right? And styles means writing our style in a different document. So basically, why writing this in a different document? Because now we are in such an era that everything needs to be at its own place, right? So that means that we are doing some kind of a separation of concerns, right? We have our HTML page, it's in a different file. We have our CSS file, it's in a different file. Okay, so that's what you mean by writing our style file, that is adding our styles in a different document. Okay, cool. So now this is a gist of what a CSS is. Yes, Devakar, HTML has been taught several times. Okay, so this means cascading style sheets. Now let's see the history of it. So it was first proposed by, because we were earlier, what we used to do, we used to make changes on our HTML file, right? So there was not no such separate thing like CSS. So it was first proposed by Hakum Lee on 10th October 1994. Then 1996 CSS was published on 17th November with influencer Brett Pross. Later, he became the co-author of CSS in 1996. But in 1996, it got official in December, okay, and it was published now officially. Okay, so 1997 then came the level 2, then level 3, all those levels. But in 1997, level 2 came. It was created because of some changes, right? We every time that if there's a new level, that means we are adding some more things. Okay, that's what we mean by level 2, level 3, level 4. Okay, so now it was done in November 1997 and it was published on 12th May 1998. So Saifuddin says, what is the use of CSS? As I told you earlier, Saifuddin, so the use of CSS is to make our web page presentable. Okay, how your website or how your web page looks like, what is the look and feel of your web page, right? Let's suppose you have a house and you have constructed it. Let's suppose that let's make it more simpler for you. That house is, there's just a skeleton of that house, right? There's just a structure. Okay, this will be your bedroom, this will be your dining room, this will be your kitchen, right? And all those things. And now what you're going to do, now you're going to make it beautiful by adding some style, making the coloring of the walls beautiful. So that is what a CSS is in a naive way. Okay, and why we use it? Basically to make our web page presentable. Okay, so this is all about what and why and how what is the definition of CSS. Now which editor should you use? Again, so basically the more powerful your editor is, more functionalities you get, like auto indentation, right, highlights, right? All those things. So, and auto correction as well, auto completion as well. So all those things you will get with a more powerful editor. So one of the these are some of the editors. Okay, Atom is there, Brackets is there, Espresso is there. This is for Mac users. Notepad++, it is great for HTML and CSS. Komodo edit is there, that is simple, so it is much simpler than Notepad. Okay, so you shouldn't go for it, rather than go for Notepad++ or Sublime Text. So what I am going to use is a Sublime Text. Okay, cool guys. So these are all of your editors. Now what is the difference from one editor to another editor? Is just that, yeah, VS Code is also there, Visual Studio is there also, Amar. Okay, so now what is the difference from each of these, from one editor to another editor? So basically, the more powerful your editor is, the more features you get, like auto completion. That means you just have to press tab and it will fill all the skeleton of it. Okay, some part of the skeleton. Okay, auto correction is there, auto indentation is there, so you don't have to indent your code. Yes, Aman, Visual Studio is also there. You can do that. You can write your code in that as well. Okay, so auto indentation, auto updation, auto correction, right? And it will give you highlights. Let's suppose you're making some tags, so it will make your tag go, let's suppose, right, red, or right, anything like pink or blue, right? So the coloring is also there. Okay, so these are all the editors. Now what is the basic structure of a CSS? Okay, so you have to first write the selector. We will talk about these selectors in detail. So first there will be a selector, and then there will be a property, and then its value. Okay, so if you see the file that is opened in front of you, it's easily written that selector, then the property, and then its value, then the property 2 and its value, then the property 3, then its value. We'll see examples in detail after this slide, or maybe after some slides. Okay, so selector, it selects the element you want to target. So these are selectors. Let's suppose you want to target a head tag, right? Sure, Umesh. We will do that. We will work upon that. Yes, you can make a website using CSS and HTML, but it will be much more of what it will be much more of a static page kind of a thing if it's not going in the backend. Okay, you can make it. You can make much more things. If we talk about CSS framework, right, there is Bootstrap, that's foundation. So that will make your work easier, and it's much more you can create more web pages, and then you can shift move across them, so it will make much more sense rather than just going for HTML and CSS. You should go for HTML, CSS and some JavaScript, okay, so that it looks kind of a dynamic website. Okay, you can create, okay, you can create static websites. Okay, so this selector is used. Okay, thank you very much. Thanks, Devaka. Okay, so now what does this selector? Selects the element you want to target. So we are going to select each element. So what do you mean by element? So you have already gone through my session on HTML, right? So yeah, first you need to cover the basics section. So you need to cover the basics, right? So if your basics CSS, HTML, JavaScript are needed for the website, yes, moreover, Aman. Okay, so now this selector, if you have seen these elements, what do you mean by these elements? So if you have a paragraph tag, in that paragraph you have some content, and then you close the paragraph. So in a whole, this is an element. Okay, so if you want to target this element, let's suppose you want to target this paragraph tag, so you select this p tag. Okay, so this is what selector means: selecting your tags, right? Selecting your IDs, selecting your classes. We will talk about those as well. So for now, you can select any element from your HTML page. There are few basic selectors like tags, right? IDs and classes. All form is the key value pair. So like we have seen in the above. Okay, so there will be a key and then its value, right? Property 1 is value, right? Some of the keys can be, let's suppose, color, font size, background, width, height. These are all keys, and then their values, okay, associated with each property. What font size is, right, in pixel, what a background color is, right, a hexadecimal number or a red or a name, right? Then height in percentage, right? Then color, red, green, blue, right? All those things. Sure. Yes, Praveen, it will be available. Okay, don't worry about it. Once if you have subscribed to our channel, then it will be available for then it will be available for you. You can check all the sessions that have been taken not only by me, but every other instructor. Okay, cool. Please say something about XML. Sure. In some in the next maybe next session, or in this session, if there time is there, I will give you a brief introduction about XML as well. Okay, Shivani. Okay. So keys and values. Now you have a clear vision of what is a key and what is a value. Always remain same whether we apply internal or external styling. So now let's talk about the styling, how internal styling works and how external styling works. Okay. Yeah, selector, Ankit, selector part is covered, but in the next slides. Okay, so for now we just have to just keep this thing in mind, that it just selects the element, okay, from your HTML page. Okay, now how to write comments. As always, it will not be rendered in the browser. It helps us to understand our code better and makes it readable. Helps in debugging our code. Okay, so it can be a single line comment or a multiple line comment. Okay, so should I buy MacBook Air for coding? Okay, so it's not required as such. If you want to buy, you can buy it, but there's no as such requirement that you have to buy a MacBook Air 2017. Okay, so it doesn't make any sense. Okay, if you want, you can go for it. Okay, so this is how you write comments. Okay, so now what are the different ways to write a CSS? So there are 3 ways to write CSS in our HTML file. So first one is the inline CSS, then internal CSS, then external CSS. So the priority of order is in such a way that first what will be prioritized? The inline CSS. Obviously it is in the same HTML page and it doesn't have to go on the different page. So, and it's on the same tag as well. So the priority is that inline element has much more priority as compared to internal and as compared to external. Let's suppose now, what is this priority order? Let's suppose you have a paragraph tag and you have applied all these three types of CSS the different ways how you can write, how you apply CSS on that element. You have written all of these three. So you have a paragraph tag, you applied some inline CSS on it. Then on the same paragraph tag, you applied internal CSS, the same HTML file. And then on that same paragraph tag, you have applied the external CSS as well. So which one will be on that paragraph tag? Which one will have the effect? Can anyone tell me? Quickly guys. Which one will have its effect on that paragraph tag? Inline, internal or external? We'll see one by one how internal is written, how inline is written, how external is written. For now, if I told you about the property, tell me which one will be applied on that paragraph tag. So on that paragraph tag, you have all these three CSS applied. The ways that you apply CSS, all the three ways have been applied on that paragraph tag. Quickly in the chat section, yes, no, maybe. Inline, great. Internal, no, minus, not internal. External, yes. Saksham says best practice. Yes, it's a best practice. Free source code says external. I'm saying that in this case, it will be inline. Yeah, it will be inline. So now let's demystify all these three ways. Okay, so the first thing, obviously external is much more reliable and it's much more used. Why? I will tell you. So inline, before CSS, and now there was no CSS earlier, right? We know that in 1994 this CSS came into existence. Abdullah says internal. No, Abdullah, it's inline. Okay, now before CSS, this was the only way to apply styles. How? You use a style attribute and then you apply its properties, okay, and then its value. So this was the only way we had before CSS was there. It's not inefficient, as if you want to write the same property or you want to apply the same CSS, so for a large number of CSS code, external is the best. Yes, Aishu. Sir, Adobe Photoshop is there? No, not, I don't remember. You need to check. Okay, Rohan. So now not an efficient way to write, as it has a lot of redundancy. It's a self-contained, right? So if you see, it is contained in the same element, okay, uniquely applied on each element. Idea of separation of concern is lost. What do you mean by this? So again, I will repeat. So earlier, now we are in such an era again that if you want to apply some CSS, do it in a different file, okay? Do not mix it with the same HTML file, okay? So that is what we mean by a separation of concerns, that if you have some concern with the structure, write a separate file. If you have some concern with the properties like coloring and all those things, like beautifying your website or a web page, make it in a separate file. And if you're trying to do some activities or some actions on that web page, make a different JavaScript file, right? So it's CSS according to me, but you can use SAS as well. Right now we can use SAS as well. Okay, it's audible. External. Okay, Aisha says it's audible. She might be late. Okay, so now, yeah. So you see, now we had a head tag, right? H3 or a paragraph tag, and you applied color green to this. I did this. I did that. Right? That is written. What is written on the screen? Right, so now this I did this and I did that will have a text, this coloring of this text will be green. So this is how we used to apply CSS. And when we talk about what if this is an inline CSS, then it will be written in the same line, okay? Same paragraph tag, we write this inline, we write this CSS. This is how you write an inline CSS, okay? Now this is redundant. Why this is redundant and why the separation of concern is lost, that is clear, because it is written in the same HTML page. Now, if you want to make or apply these same style on a different paragraph tag, then you have to repeat again yourself, right? You have to write style, color, green. Again, if you want to add this style on same paragraph tag or on a different paragraph tag. Let's suppose you have 3 different paragraph tags and you want to apply this CSS property on that. Okay, which one is better, React.js or Angular? React, obviously React is better, much more better, and it's getting popular day by day. Yes, Saksham. So now let's see a little bit demo of it. Okay, so let's suppose I let me maximize it a bit for you guys. So first we will save a file on the desktop and let's call it first.html. Okay, so now you see HTML, and then I press tab, so all of this thing came, and let's call it a home page. And now let's apply some CSS. So if you have a paragraph tag and you press a tab, then you lower it and then press a tab. So this is how it came. So what we will do, we'll apply style, and then let's suppose we wrote color, and then red, and this is how we apply it. Now let's suppose, now on the same on a different paragraph tag, let's suppose we have a different paragraph tag. Now this is our different paragraph tag, and now let's write something gibberish. Okay, now we want to apply the same CSS on this as well. Okay, so now what you will do, you will cut this thing and apply this thing again here, because this is the only way we know so far. We are applying inline CSS. Again we will write this thing. So now let's suppose you want to apply this on another paragraph tag, right? And again you will do the same thing. What you will write the style red. So now if you see, now to apply this style, we have to, again redundancy is there, right? You can see we are applying these styles again and again. So I'm using Sublime Text. Okay, yeah, so now I'm using this again and again. So you see the redundancy is there, right? So now if you guys go into the Google Chrome, or if I go into my desktop and if I run this file, okay, you see everything is in red, but the redundancy part is there. Okay, see. So now let's go back to our slides. Yeah, so now you see the redundancy is there. Now what is a different way? How? Yes, Amit, will come to that as well. So now this is how your internal CSS will look like. With the help of style tag, we can apply styles within the HTML page. Redundancy is removed, but it is removed for that particular page. Now let's suppose there are multiple pages. Now again redundancy will be there, because you will have to apply this style tag again. Okay, right? So after applying this style tag, only then you can use this on that HTML page. But idea of separation of concern is still lost, right? Because you are again writing it in the same HTML file. We should go for a different HTML file. We know that, right? Uniquely applied on a single page. It is unique for that particular single page. VS Code is better. Yeah, you can use it. Can I use Notepad? Yes, you can. Yeah. So this is how your internal CSS will look like. So you have to apply CSS style. You have to apply style tag, and then H1 you selected that H1 tag, right? And then you applied that. This is the selector. H1 is the selector. Then this is your property. Then this is your value. Okay. So now the most important how you apply CSS is the external CSS, and this is the most efficient, and we should always go for this. So again we will write a link tag. Okay, now here we use a link tag wherein we have a relative part or the relation, right? And then this is a style type. The style sheet is this is the CSS style sheet that we are going linking our file to. The text is the type of this file is, sir, how do I get started with web designing? You have to take minified steps, right? First you have to go with HTML, then CSS, then JavaScript. Okay, and start learning it quickly and implementing it. Implementation part is very important section. Okay, so now you have to apply the link tag, and then you will write the the reference of that file. Okay, now let me show you quickly. So let's remove these things. Okay, So now let's suppose you have only single p tag. Okay, you have a paragraph tag and then you apply lorem, and that's it, done. And now how you apply this CSS, you will use a link tag. You see, I just wrote link and then I pressed a tab, so everything came. So let's call it first.css. Okay, and now let's save this file and let's make a new file. Let's first save it on the same position at the same location. Let's call it first.css. Okay, so now this CSS file is present. Now we have let's suppose we are applying the CSS on this paragraph tag. So we will select this p tag, and then what we wrote these curly braces, and then what we write a property and then its value. What is its value? Let's suppose it's red. Okay, so now we are done, and let's save this file and let's go back in our. You see, there was only one paragraph whose text color is red. Okay, Rohan says, sir, I have a query. Yes, what is your query, Rohan? Go ahead. Devakar says, do you teach Python? No. Okay, so this is how you write your CSS, external CSS. Okay, so this was your file, your HTML file, and you linked your CSS file with this link tag, and then the name is there, the reference of that CSS file is there, which is the first.css. You selected this tag and then you applied the color, then you applied the CSS property. Okay, now this is how you write your external CSS. So now if again sir is you in. So Saifuddin says, sir is used in hacking. I don't understand you, Saifuddin. Saifuddin. Okay, now this is how your external CSS will look like. Okay, so now your question is, how is it the most important or mostly used? Can anyone tell me why it is mostly used? Can you please sir, can you please tell me that Adobe Photoshop is used with CSS? Yes, you can use it. So you is selected in web page. Yes, the paragraph tag is selected. So now what are its benefits? Okay, so adding if now you want to apply this same properties, let's suppose in our page what we wrote, there was only one p tag and we applied only one color property. We changed only one color, single property. Now let's suppose we have 100 lines of CSS color CSS properties that we have applied. Okay, yes, obviously Abdullah, external is better. One location of a style, all web page in the website. Yes, so now if you want to apply this style on a different web page, you just have to add that link. Okay, you just have to add that link tag and that's it. So this CSS will be applied on all the pages. So I want to know what is HTML. HTML is nothing but a hypertext markup language which defines the structure of your web page. Okay, Karuna, go through the live session. Okay, go through the live session. You don't have to write please. So go through the live session which I have taken earlier. Okay, so it will be much more clear to you. Okay, after this session, it doesn't it has a dependency on HTML. I do understand that if you don't have any idea regarding HTML, it might be a little bit difficult. What is an element, what is a tag, everything is explained in that live session. Okay, just go through it after this session is over. Okay, you don't have to worry. Okay, great. So this is how your external CSS looks like. Okay, time it will be over at 1. Okay, just quickly guys confirm is everything okay or not. Okay, now let's move ahead. So now finally we will understand what are CSS selectors. So basically these selectors, okay says Ron, great. So now what are these selectors, right? I talked about selectors, right? IDs, classes, element, and until this point we were selecting with the help of elements, right? We were selecting these specific tags, paragraph tags, right? This is called an element selector. So there are many selectors, but the most simple selectors are what? Element selector, ID selector, class selector. So the priority is that ID will have much more priority as compared to class and as compared to element. Okay, is this stopped? Is this clear now? Can you guys pre-course code? Can you guys quickly confirm is everything okay? Quickly guys, yes, no, maybe. Okay, great Ashu. So now what is the priority of each of these selectors? So basically, if you have applied, let's suppose you have made some you have selected some paragraph and you made it id. You selected it with the help of id and the element as well. So which css property will be applied? Obviously the id one. Okay, now let me show you first how it works and how you define use ids and all, then it will make much more sense. Are these related to html? Yes, css basically, if you have something structure, how you define the structure of your web page, what is there, where you have your paragraphs, where you have your tags, where you have your write article, right, where you write your article, where is your copyright, where is your that navigation bar. So that will define, but that will be defined by what? Obviously html, and then how you beautify it is the css. So obviously these two are related. Okay, Amrit. Okay, so now how element selector works, we have seen this, right? You used to select the html elements by its name. So how do we do it? We select h1 and then you apply css. We selected the heading tag and then change the color property, that is text to red, and now whatever is written in this tag, the content of that will be, the text color of that will be red, right? Great. So now obviously this is how you select your html elements. Now is there any other way, or is there any different way? Yes, we will select with the help of ids. So how you will make an id? Now if you want to apply these obviously, now let's suppose you have this p tag, okay, which we selected earlier, now, or h1 tag in this case, right? So each and every h1 tags in your file, okay, in your html file, all these properties, right now we have only color property that we changed, okay. So in all the h1 tags will be all the h1 tags that are on your page will have this color property changed to red, okay. So this is something that is global level, okay, you can say it global, okay. So basically it will change all the h1 tags, right? But here in ids, let's suppose you want to change the h1 tag and you want to be specific that this is the id, this is the h1 tag that I want to change, rest I don't want to change, okay. So how do you do that? So for that we have id selectors, okay. We selected one particular id and we named it unique, okay guys. Now we want to change only this unique tag, okay, that is the h1 tag. So you write this unique, that id equal to unique, and then with the help of octothorpe you use that in the css file you use octothorpe, then the name of the id, that is unique, and then you change the property. It's used to specific to target specific or unique elements, okay guys. You feel me, right guys? Just give me a quick yes or no, as we are also running out of time. Just give me quickly yes, no, maybe. So id attributes is used to select the html element, okay. Now we have selected this id, then we change the color property to great issue, okay. So now text color will be changed to red, whatever is written in this tag, the content of that will be red, okay guys. So this is how you change your id with the how you change your how you apply css with the help, and you select with the help of id, okay. Now there is one more thing, okay, that is class selector. Now if you want to specifically target a group of, now you want to select a group of, right? So you see the chronology. So basically h1 will select all the h1s, right? Now if you want to select any unique h1, you use id. Now if you want to target, so let's suppose there are 10 h1 tags in your paragraph, in your html page, and you want to target only 5. You cannot do it with the help of id because the id is unique, okay. Now is there any way? Yes, with the help of class you can make those 5 you can use this class selector to change the properties of that 5 of those, what, sorry, dot for class, okay. So now you use that, you use those this class, and you make a group of those 5 h1 tags, and you change the color property. In this case you can do a lot of things, I'm just specifying on color, okay, just changing the text. That's simplest css, okay. So you now you specifically targeted those 5 h1 tags, and then what you did, you change this CSS property of those. Okay, so used to target specific class of elements, and you use a dot sign, okay, for classes. Okay, octothorpe for IDs and dot for classes. Now the whatever is written in this h1 tag will have its color property, or will have its text written in what, red. Okay, this is how CSS class selector works. Great. Now we were talking about these properties, right? Color equal to red, right? So now the CSS color is one of the most commonly asked questions based on this CSS. Okay, when you talked about CSS and someone asked you a question, this is the most widely asked, or the most commonly asked question on colors. Okay, so what is RGB, what is hex, how you write, can you write different ways to write a color? Okay, so there are different coloring schemes in CSS. Two are widely used techniques. So first one is that I was using, that was using name, red, green, blue, whatever. Okay, so now there is also RGB, that is red, green, blue. That is the color pattern. Okay, color platelets, that red platelet is there, green and blue. Okay, so now sir, can you run on selectors? Yeah, sure, I will do that. Just a minute. So let's suppose you have, okay, you just defined let's suppose I made it this unique. Okay, ID equal to let's call it unique. Okay, unique. So now let's save this file, and now let's change this unique to, we use octothorpe. Okay, and I write my this, and I change the color property of this to, let's suppose, orange. Okay, let's save this file. And do we have any other paragraph? No. Let's make another paragraph here. Okay, let's make another paragraph here. Okay, let's save this. Now let's suppose I am just targeting one. I can do it with the help of why red, green, blue, why not yellow, orange, black. So Khalid, when you talk about these color formation, so with the help of these red, green, blue, you can form almost all the colors. So that is why. Okay, so why there is red, green and blue. If you mix them in some different portions, let's suppose there is the range of it, if you mix them in different proportions, then you will get all the set of all the range will be, all of the colors will be there. Okay, so red, if you have some portion of red, some portion of green, some portion of blue, it will form some colors, and it will be always, you will be having all the colors. Okay, that's why. So let's call it a class, and let's name it, let's GRP. Okay, and then let's save this file, and let's make let's use this GRP, and let's change the property to, let's what will be the color? Let's suppose green. Okay, let's save this file, and now let's run this. You see, now we have all the different colors. Okay, so first one was selected by ID, and second one was there, okay, as well, and it's having color red. Why it's red? Let's demystify all these things. Okay, so you see p tag, the color is red. Now this p tag didn't have its reference. Okay, this had much more, this priority of this was less as compared to what, this class. So that is why class was applied. Okay, as compared with on it was prioritized upon paragraph tag. So that is why this green text is there at the end, not red. Okay, but that unique one is there, that is the first paragraph tag that we have, and it's orange. Okay, so you see, now the priority is also explained, that which one will have priority as compared to which one. So ID will have priority, then classes, then elements. Okay, so now let's suppose, let's make it simpler for you guys. Let's remove this. Let me remove this thing. Okay, and now you have p tags. Okay, and one on that please show the HTML code. I want check something. Okay, so now you see you have these tags, okay, p tags, and then you have a class tag, okay. So this is called grp, the group, okay. So now let me save this thing, okay. So and after that I will try to complete as much I can. Since we are running out of time, I want to focus on the basic parts. Maybe in the part 2 session, part 2 of this CSS session, I will try to cover those things, okay. Don't worry. Okay, so now if you see, now this unique is not there. Let me remove it. Now you see, both of these are paragraph tags, and both of these are selected here, okay, and the color is red. And then I have specified in one that this is a class, and I have selected it, and I have changed the property of it. So which one will have priority? Is it this p tag or the grp tag? What will be the color of this first paragraph? Okay, what will be the color of this first paragraph, guys? So will it be red or will it be green? So obviously it will be red. Not defined, not it's not yet confirmed. It will be there in the community post, right, which you guys have seen obviously for this session as well, okay. So now, and what will be the color of this second? Yes, go ahead. Yeah, you guys are correct. And what will be the color of this second paragraph tag? Quickly, guys, can you just confirm? Will it be red? Will it be green? The CSS properties applied green, so obviously it will be green. Now let's save this file, and that means that we are using the priority here on what? On the ID, on the element, okay. Okay, so great. So you have green, you have red, okay. Great. So now let's go way back and see the CSS color, okay. So there are different coloring schemes in CSS. Two of them are widely used. So can we apply multiple colors on CSS and notepad as multiple colors on CSS? You mean you want to apply different colors? That means that you want to let's suppose you have some sentence and you want to apply different color. So you have to use some different tags, right, like span tags, and then you can use those color properties just to select that particular word, okay. Two widely used techniques are RGB and hex, okay. So RGB stands for, obviously, hex is difficult to remember. Yes, hex is difficult to remember, so that's why you should go for, obviously I am using the name, it's best, and it's simpler, right. So now if you want to specify some certain targets, there are websites wherein you will get exactly what you're looking for, okay. Which software I'm using? It's not it's an editor that I'm using, that is Sublime, okay, for CSS. We will see. You don't have to remember all those things. We will see how can we make it even simpler for us in the next session, that is on Friday, and we will see what Bootstrap, and wherein we don't have to do any of these things, but you should know RGB is the best. Yes, this stands for red, green, blue. It takes three parameters. Three parameters basically corresponds to green, red, and blue, and each parameter has a range of 0 to 255. So it ranges from 0 to 255. And if you wrote 0, 0, 0, that is, if you wrote 255, 0 and 0, that means there is no green color in it, there is no blue in it, it's just red. So it's completely red, and it will be, the color of this will be red. Now hex is in hexadecimal number, which starts with octothorpe. It comprises of 6 numbers, which is further divided into 3 sets from 0 to F. Okay, sets basically green, again red, green, and blue. It also sets the same thing. So first FF, that it ranges from 0 to F. So we have FF0000, that is 4 zeros. It's set of 2. Okay, we will work on that issue. Okay, don't worry. We will see what we can do with SAS. Okay, and so octothorpe, FF, the first part, the second is 00, the third is 00. So it will be again red. So now there is another scheme, that is another coloring scheme, that is RGBA, where A defines the basically you can use to create yes, that same thing. Yeah. So now there is another coloring scheme, that is RGBA, which is red, green, blue, and alpha. This alpha stands for transparency. Let me show you quickly. So we have seen this red, right? We can use octothorpe, we can use a hexadecimal or RGB color format or GB. And now let me just write again 255, then 0, then 0. Okay, let me just remove these things. Okay, now if it is visible for you, I don't know, this let me just maximize it and let me just run it. Okay, so you see, let me just so you see, this will be clear, right? So this is red, both of these are red, right? And now if I want to make it a little bit less, okay, so the next button, then show the next word, how to make with bootstrap, and then go on the yeah, don't worry about it as well. Okay, it will be covered in future sessions. Okay, so let's cover first, try to learn the basics, then maybe we will go into different things. Okay, so now if you see, now I want to do some, I want to lighten this red. Okay, so how would you do it? Yeah, you can say it. Okay, though it's a different coloring scheme. Now I want to use this A, and it ranges from 0 to 1, so I want to just reduce its color from 0.5. okay, I want to make it a transparent. Earlier it was something like this. What? Where is it? Yeah. Earlier it was a dark red. Now I'm just lightening it. You see the difference? Okay. Okay, guys. Cool. So now let's get back. So this is RGBA, RGB, and hex. Okay, the coloring. Now, how you change the background? This is the most important thing. Okay. So background property is always there, and if you want to change the background, that is, you want to apply some image or anything, right? You use background property. So background property comes with different things, that is color, and then there is, if you want to repeat that image or not, and then there is attachment, then there is position. Okay, you can also set an image as your background. Okay, what is FF, sir? It's a range that's ranged from 0 to 9 and A to B. So that is how hexadecimal range is there. Okay, so if you have any idea with hexadecimal numbers, that what is the range of those from 0 to 9 and A to F. So this FF stands for, at least it stands for the last element, just like 255 stands for red. Similarly, this FF stands for maybe the last element in that range. Okay, got it, Rohan? So as I told you, there are 3 segments in it. The first segment, that is 0 0, the FF, then the 0 0, the second segment, and the third segment is again 0 0. Okay, guys. So now this is how you use background and how you apply this background property. Let's suppose you have an HTML tag, you have selected it, and then you change the background with the help of this FF 99 and 00. You change it to some color. Obviously, the red portion is much more there, and then you have some portion of 99. That is some portion of maybe some green in between, some green portion. Okay, and sir, but how it creates other colors? So as I told you, some portion of this, some portion of that, some portion of that, again in the same way. Okay, Rohan, don't get confused. It's just a coloring scheme that you are picking some color from the. If you have in drawing, maybe if you have used different colors. Let's suppose you have red, green, and blue, and you have these 3 what were those colors called? Those watermarks that we had, and then you take your brush and then pick some of these colors, some of the green color, some of the white color, not the white, some of the green, red, and blue, and you just mix them. It will always form different colors depending upon the portion that you pick from all those things. Okay, and it's for sure that you will get all the colors, okay, from these range. Okay, so now you have selected a paragraph tag, then you applied some URL of some particular different image. Okay, you don't, it can be anything. Okay, so background URL, and then you position it to the left, and then there is no repeat. That means you're not repeating your image. If it is completed, you won't repeat it. Okay, then the attachment is fixed. That means once you're scrolling down, if your page is big and you want to scroll down, then at that time you can use this property that you want to fix your image. Let me show you quickly how this works. Okay, yeah, so you have this paragraph tag. First, what we apply, background, and then background URL. Just a minute, guys. So first, what we will do, we will change the we will use some image from the internet. Okay, so we'll use some image and we'll try to apply that. Okay, Let me just go back and pick some image from the internet. Okay, let me pick some image. Okay, let's pick these two cats and let me copy its address. Okay, I have copied its address, and let me go back, and then what we will do, we'll write URL. Okay, and then I will paste this address of this image. Okay, so now we are done with this image. Okay, now what is this code will be visible to you. This is a long address of this image. Okay, we don't worry about what the address is. Okay, so we have copied this address. Okay, yes, exactly, Rohan. Yeah. Now what we will do, let's see what are the what do we get. Okay, and then try to change different things. Okay, so now let's change this and let's refresh this. Yeah, you see, these are the two images on either of the paragraph tags. Okay, so now you see we are not able to get the full images of the particular that we try to bring, right. This is the full image, but we can't get it since it is of right, the size, the pixel size of this is less. So how do you do that? There is some other property that is called background size. Okay, so background, then there is size. Okay, so that size, and we will write this as let's suppose contain or cover. Let's cover this. Okay, use this property and let's see how we don't need this tab anymore, and let's refresh. Now you see we got some portion of it, but yet still it is not visible to us because it's covering. So there is another property. It means that we are covering this whole image. Now there's another property that we can use, that is contains, or we can write just size 100%, that is the width, and 100%, that is the height. Okay, now you see that image will be much more less, and its pixel formation will be lost. Now we got the full image, but its formation is lost. Okay, guys, so now if you see, we got the whole image of that cat image because of the size of that particular block. Okay, so that is why this is happening. And we have another, that is contains. Okay, something is wrong. Yeah, so contain. Now we have this contain, and let's change this. You see, now we got the full image, and it looks much more beautiful as compared to earlier. But we have these repeats, right? So this is the image that got that once is completed. Okay, so now this is the image that once got completed. Now we don't want it to be repeated. So what do we write? We write background, and then repeat, and then we write no repeat. Okay, so now we save this. Now this won't be repeated. Okay, now this is a single image. Now if we want to position it, how do you do that? We write background and position, and let's suppose we want it in the center. Okay, now center. Now let's save this, and let's go back and see. Got it in the center. Now if you want to keep it scrolling, and let's suppose your page is big and you're scrolling and you want your image to be there, at that time you will use attachment. Okay, so this is you can do a lot more things with this, so you don't have to worry. Okay, it will get to you with time. Okay, so this is how we apply your background property. Now CSS border is there, so it obviously helps you to set up the border. Alright, so the border properties, you can change it. It will contain width, style, color, and radius. The radius, color, style, and it is obvious to you, right? The style can be solid. You have a solid border, or you have a dash border, right? It will be dash, all those things. And width of the border, and radius. Radius defines the roundness of your border. If you observe carefully, some of the laptops have their lid rounded at the corners, right? This is the roundness. This is what a radius defines, the roundness of your border. Okay, and some of them will not have, some of them will have a little bit of curve, but some if you have a Dell laptop, it will have much more curve. Okay, so you can set border for specifically top, right, bottom, left. This is how you set the border. and okay, and you can club top and bottom together, and same goes for left and right. Okay, so now if you see the border property that I have applied here, you see this is a border style that you want a solid border, and then the border paragraph border color is there, that the color of that border. Okay, so you just need to select that image, the location of that, and put it there. Okay, just like I showed it for that image tag, right? Okay, Abdullah, you just select that image, which the location of that, and then you just paste it on the URL background URL, and you will get it. Okay, so don't worry. Mm. Okay, so now border color, border width, that is how, what is the width of your that border, and then the radius, the roundness. Okay, this is how you set your border. Okay, now finally we are going to cover this topic, as we are running out of time. I will cover it, maybe if it's not understood, if this thing is not understood, I will try to cover it in the next session. Okay, so every element in the CSS can be represented using a box model. It helps the developer to develop and manipulate the elements. It consists of 4 edges, that is the content, padding, border, and margin. Okay, then you can apply style. Okay, that id, as we have used an id, and therein we change the border of the, we change the border, we change the margin, we change the padding and the content. Okay, let me show you quickly how this thing is done and how this thing works. Just write this, go on your web page and click on inspect and go into your developer console, and now you see here, this is your box model. Okay, the styles, you see now this margin and padding. Now you see this blue text that I have shown here, this blue 672379, this is your content. Here comes your content, and the content, the space between your content and your border, this border and this, is called padding. The space between your content and your border is called padding, and the space between your border and the next element. Okay, let's suppose there is another element and that has the same format, right? The space between those two is called margin. Okay, the space between padding and margin is the border, right? That is, the border is there and the margin is the space after that between the two elements. Okay, so if you want to do that, okay, so full image on the background, you just changed all of these things and you just use body here, and you don't want any repeats. Okay, you don't want any without repeat, so no repeat is there. We'll change the position as well. Okay, let's save this file and let's run this thing. Let me minimize this box first, and let me just show you. So this is how it works. Okay, so now this is contained. Now if you want to be it on the whole page, let's try to see how it works with cover. So I used cover without no repeats, and this is how it looks. Okay, okay, who was saying this? Varsha. Okay, Varsha. So now this is how your this thing works, and let me go back to the styles. Now you have a clear vision that what is a border, and the spacing between your content and your border is called padding, and then between the individual elements the space is there, and that is called margin. Okay, so that is it. This is it from this session, guys, and you can easily apply this thing to your web page. Okay, as we are running out of time, so this is it from this session, from at least from today's session. So I hope you guys have enjoyed. Thank you so much, guys. Okay, guys, so now if you don't have any questions, I am going to drop off from this, sign off from this session. Okay, guys, quickly can we create a blog domain hosting this using this? Yes, you can. Okay, guys, we will get into the advanced part maybe in the next. So thank you, sir, from Nigeria. Thanks, Abdullah. Okay, guys, thanks a lot, guys. So I am signing off. So thanks a lot. Aisha says thank you, Aisha. So any more questions do you have? So that if you don't have any questions, I will drop off.